Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing the RedArc trailer brake controller here on the switch panel to the left side of the steering wheel on the 2023 Nissan Pro 4X. While I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange some of these switches so that the ones I need most are up towards the top, and then I'm probably going to use this trailer brake controller pretty infrequently, so it will be down there in that lower row. Stay tuned to see this install. All right, for this trailer brake install, you'll just need a Phillips head screwdriver. You'll be working in some pretty tight spaces, so I recommend a smaller one as well. This is not absolutely needed, but to install the knob for the switch, there is a little nut on there, and so having a 12mm socket, this just makes it more helpful, more easy. We are going to need some zip ties to zip tie some things in place, and then just some pliers to cut some of the excess off when you're done zip tying. Alright, just got this from RedArc. You actually need to order two things from the site. You have to order this connection wiring made specifically for the Frontier. On this page, I'm noticing it lists all the different vehicles it works with, and the 3rd gen is not listed, but on their website it said it worked, and so I'm hoping, because it worked on the 2nd gen Frontiers and not much has changed component-wise from the 2nd and 3rd gen, I'm hoping this will work. This is the Tow Pro Elite. There's two different Tow Pro, or two different trailer brake controllers for the Nissan Frontier. This one is the Elite version. I believe it works to have two braking modes, which is different from just the Tow Pro. So I've got the module here. This will need to be installed, maybe zip tied somewhere underneath the steering wheel behind those switches. And this is the knob that's going to get put in one of the switches on the dash. Some more wiring. Instructions. This looks like part of the knob that will help it light up. Getting some more instructions. Here's the piece that looks very similar to the switches on the dash of the Frontier, so happy that that looks similar. Comes these two cables. We're only going to need one. This one we will not need because we are wiring right into the trailer harness that's already back there. This is the cable that's going to connect the module to the switch, so we are going to need that. All right, let's get started. To remove this part of the dash, we are going to have to pull back some of this weather stripping. There's also a Phillips head screw there that we'll need to remove. Then I believe there's just some clips that we'll just need to pull out, and this whole bottom section will come off fairly easy. Okay, that one screw came out, and then there were just some tabs all along. You can see one here, a couple here, a couple on the other side, and you'll just work your way around by pulling this weather stripping off and slowly pulling out those tabs, and then it rests down pretty nicely. So this is the cable that comes, you have to order it separately, but it does come with the RedArc kit. This port, this plugs into the trailer brake control that's in the Frontier, and if you go this route of taking off the dash, you should be able to see the controller is right there to the left. I'm trying to get, it's right there. So I'm going to show you again what that looks like. If you come here, you pull this down a little bit, you can see it right there to the left, right there. And so you can see there's a little piece of tape holding it together with some other wiring. If you cut that tape, or just kind of, you can leave it be and just keep that from dangling down, but this white end here from the cord from RedArc is going to plug into that there. And that's step one. Okay, so I have all the switches off at the moment. Got my top row, my middle, and my lower, and I want this RedArc towing switch to go here on my lower. I've already plugged in the adapter, the cable that comes with the kit, and I've already shown you where it plugs in there. So this eventually will get plugged into the module unit. Right now I want to work on installing the actual switch into the base here. Okay, these are all the parts for the switch. So the first step is taking this adhesive ring and that is going right here. Then taking this, and you want this part that sticks out, that's going on the bottom. It's the only way it will go. If you try to turn it around or upside down, it won't go all the way in. And then we screw in this nut. And you could probably just do this by hand, but I just wanted it to be tight, and so I'm using a 12mm socket. And then just pop that on. Something I noticed is before you install the knob, you'll actually want to spin this all the way to the left. And so that's basically 0. And you're going to find 0 on the knob there, and then line it up with that nub at the top. So now that's all the way to the left, and then as you increase to the right, you're increasing your brake strength, brake sensitivity, excuse me. So now this is ready to actually pop in down here, and notice it pretty much sits right in there without the housing, and so you can then bring the housing and screw it in that way. I'm actually going to first screw the housing back in and then punch this in so then I can slip the power cord through there. So to do that, you're just going to need to take 2 of your silver screws that you already unscrewed and put this backing housing on there. Now that that is screwed in, I can punch this through the bottom. And then this cable, which we haven't plugged in yet, we'll plug in the back. Okay, so I have the larger cord plugged in, zip tied, tucked in there. This gets plugged into all this, so I want to make sure that's loose. The next cable is going to be this one. I'm going to unravel it just a little bit and just use these twist ties to make sure that it's not all, again, just dangling down at my feet. And I'll get that plugged into here and then down into the switch down here. Okay, I've got the RedArc control knob installed. I've got the cable hooked into the switch, wrapped around this pillar here with a twist tie, and then plugged into the Tow Pro here from RedArc. So all that is hooked up. I'm just going to clean this area up by connecting all these switches back into the dash, and then I'll show you reinstalling that dash. Well, change of plans here. I'm gonna have to relocate the RedArc box module because all of this has to squeeze in between that silver plate and this piece of plastic here. So that box and the wiring blocks all this from sitting nicely in there. So I'm going to probably just zip tie it to the top of my GMRS radio. The speaker's out of the bottom, so there's nothing really that prevents something from resting on the top. Or I'm going to see if there's another piece in there that may have some holes that I can zip tie to. Okay, I now have the RedArc mounted on top of my GMRS radio, which is just under the steering column. And now this is all opened up and should be able to fit all this electrical wiring in this narrow gap they give us. Okay, and then once this dash is all snapped in, there's only one black screw in this whole thing, and it goes right up in here. All right, remember after installing the RedArc controller here and putting this panel back on, just come over to this weather stripping and make sure that it's a snug fit, because we did have to remove that a little bit to take off this panel. You didn't have to go this route. This is the way I chose to take off this panel. You could go up under and work underneath the dash, but my back does not agree with me when we do that, so I just decided to take this off. That was how I wanted. Again, pretty easy install, just trying to make sure that the RedArc module was in a place that wasn't interfering with all this cabling. Took a little while, but other than that, pretty simple. Guys, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment if this was helpful. If I'm doing anything wrong, feel free to tell me, as I'm learning every day about this truck, and when I'm installing stuff, hope it helps you out. Feel free to help me out. Thanks a lot.